Oh.
Tres, dos. Oh, that's not French. That's Spanish.
Just whatever, it's all good.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Welcome to F1 Co-op Part 2 of our Hungarian weekend. We've chatted so much in episode 1 that we had to split it and stick it into episode 2, where we're going to go raceroo. As always, our taco friend is here, Mr. Esteban. Still doing
Buenos dias.
well? Oh, now that you've done
I
that accent, you need to do the phrase.
oh yeah. Do you like my pace? Do you like it? Again, I'm really good, and I'm in the top 10, which is pleasing to me.
It is. It is. I was really struggling with frame rates and responsiveness of my stick because I basically pulled across my PS4 setup where I scored quite a lot of points in my F1 career.
I won this race in my career.
Oh, wow. Nice.
On the same difficulty level, apparently. In a Haas, so I don't know why I'm only 10th, but whatever.
Never mind. Let's dive into it and discuss what was possibly the most craziest and weirdest race that we've had in F1 for quite some time.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking actually, like if I had to put it in a category with other races and put out, a Crash Bang Wallop What a Video Alan Partridge special on F1, what else would be in there? And I can only think of Belgium '98.
Yeah.
And Malaysia 2001.
Yeah, and
remember that when like a typhoon just arrived and everyone was just going off at every corner.
Yeah. And I obviously the Canada with Button win, was that 2011, 2012?
Yeah. Oh yeah. There we go. That's another.
Yeah.
But they're all weird for different reasons. Usually weather related, whereas this one is the first I can recall that was track related. Hold on, no, Indianapolis 2005.
Oh,
that was tyre related, but the track and the tyres are kind of.
Yeah. There was a Canadian race, wasn't there, where the track kept breaking up?
Oh yeah, there was. That's right. Okay, there has been some,
but
not the scale of this.
No, and to me, so I'm in two minds about the Azerbaijani Grand Prix circuit as a whole. In the F2 race, they crashed at turn 8 and blocked the entire track and had to red flag it, and that was the end of the race. They didn't even bother restarting. And for me, there's two issues, and A is that bit of track where it's all like minuscule. The other bit is the final sector where you've got those really fast kinks that remind me of where, you remember the Korean Grand Prix where it's like someone drew the map and then forgot to join the ends together and went shit left or
yes.
Shit right left bit, where it's like, oh, I've drawn it wonkily, clearly doing it with like a finger on a pad. And it reminds me of that, like someone's not really thought this through, because when you do end a safety car, Korea had the same problem nearly, is that you can't actually follow a safety car protocol in that final sector properly, because you can't stay within 10 car lengths, and then everyone goes anyway, and it just ends up becoming like a IndyCar race 1 turn oval down at turn 1. No wonder there's fucking carnage everywhere.
No, true enough. What's your pit strategy, Ombre?
It says to me at the minute to try one of each of the tyres, as in super soft, and medium.
That's what it's saying to me. Pitting lap 7 to switch to softs, lap 19 to switch to mediums. Or my low tyre strategy is really inefficient, because that I'm pitting lap 12 for softs, and there's 2 pit stops before that. So why would I do that? Can I get to the end on? Okay, so the mandatory tyre is soft, but I have 2 sets. So
yeah, I do.
Could I? No, I'm gonna do what it's telling me. I'm gonna do what it's telling me. I wanted to see if I could avoid the medium tyre, because you and I have something in common, that we both dislike the hardest compound at any track, don't we?
Pretty much, yeah.
I'm wondering if I could finish though on a softer compound. get my slow stint out of the way in the middle. I don't really relish the idea of finishing the race on a harder compound.
Oh, and because I qualified in the Q1 set on my soft tyres, they don't last very long. That's why it's pushing me onto mediums. Ah, shit! I shouldn't have done so many laps on that tyre compound. So I'm gonna have to start on warm softs. Then I think I will go for softs again. See how long I can go before I need to get onto the mediums, and then I'll decide if I can super soft it or medium it.
That is an excellent plan. You are a genius.
I
am going super softs till lap 7 because I only put 1 lap on them. Good boy.
Hey.
And then I will change to mediums till lap 23, and then I will finish the race on softs. Although I have a spare set of super softs available to me in case of
emergencies.
In case of Ben driving.
In case of controller failure.
Yeah. Right then, shall we get lap 1 out of the way so we can talk real shit?
Yeah, I am extraordinarily concerned. I'm very concerned with my frame rate.
But there's more cars on screen than there will be.
I don't know what happened there. I leapt out of the... I can't remember what the button that I thought was to hold me in place was not the button. Oh, Smithy, why do you have a different map on your controller compared to the PS4?
Yeah, Godsmithy. Since we can't get into the race just yet, how excited are you for F1 2017? I mean, I know we've got PC concerns, but I am excited.
Yes, so I will pre-order my PS4 version. I will leave it to the last minute for my PC version because my current PC, as you will see when you're watching this back, is struggling with this on the lowest settings of everything possible. And on actually quite a small window. So I run this windowed in a smaller mode to make it work. But yeah, really excited. Liking the look of the classic content, and I'm liking how they've kind of fitted it into the career mode so that you go on like special races with either 1 or 2 or 3 different like types of classic car. Although some of me thinks like a 2010 Red Bull car is not necessarily a classic car, but I'll take it.
No, I mean, I guess it's what they can get licenses for, right?
Yeah.
And you know, I do kind of like it, but I think actually it should be an option you can turn on and off because I imagine that will actually annoy me when I'm trying to get through my career. It's difficult enough for me as it is to finish a career season and actually move to a different team. To have extra events in between is probably going to really do my nut. But I like the idea of track days and stuff. I think that's cool. I just hope they put a bit more focus onto the live the life driver stuff. But I wish for that every year.
Yeah. And I've not seen any of that actually in any of the content of stuff that's going around, so I shall wait and see. But yeah, hopefully I'll get mine delivered on launch day, and I'll book the day off, and I shall do some PS4 streaming for Defo, and hopefully we'll get some co-op stuff.
Yeah, hopefully we can do our usual midnight launch special. We missed it this year because where was I? I was somewhere. I was in a different country.
Yes, you was in Hollywoods.
Yeah. This year I won't be, so I missed that. I liked that we had an unbroken streak for half a decade of getting up in the middle of the night and doing a video. So, you know, maybe we can make it work.
It was great fun.
Oh, I'm getting sandwiched between a Spaniard and another Spaniard. That's not good.
Oh, I've broke my front wing.
Bottas, no! Oh, no, that's bad. Bad.
What was bad?
I just Bottased, bouncing over the curb into somebody else, but my car seems to be undamaged. The problem is, like, they're going too wide through the corners ahead of me, so... There's a yellow flag behind me.
Oh, it's Vettel.
Yeah, he hit Bottas.
Confirm change.
Oh, mate. My heart always bleeds for you when something happens on lap 1.
I just expect it. Although, to be fair, it doesn't feel terrible, but I'd rather pit.
You do lose time. Even when it feels good, you lose time. So
yeah, I'm dropping off the back of signs.
I need to start cleaning up my lap because I had the pace to be on the back of Ricciardo, and now I'm forming a Ben train in front of Bottas. Right then, as things have settled down a little bit, at least for me, let's go back to the spicy burrito that was Azerbaijan. Let's continue what we were talking about in terms of the track, because I do think that's a key topic here. For me, it just struck me that I think they had a certain kind of Formula One in mind when they were designing that track, and now the cars are significantly wider, it just doesn't work. And I know some people might be listening to that and thinking, well, Monaco works, and you're right, but Monaco doesn't try and mix Monaco and Monza the way Azerbaijan does. It doesn't have those high speed sections. And I think the fact that, at Monaco, all the way round it's tight, you have to be super careful. Whereas here, if you back off in the fast sections, which inevitably lead into the slow sections, you're off the pace. Shit.
Oh no, what have we done?
A bit of a controller wobble there.
Are you still in with all four wheels?
Yes, I do, but I am now 7th rather than 5th.
No!
And I'm going to be off the pace because I'm missing half my front wing, but I'm going to live with it because I'm pitting in like 5 laps, so what's the fucking point? Right then. So for me, I just... Part of me was a little bit annoyed at the quality of some of the driving I was seeing, which I'm sure we'll touch on. But I was also particularly annoyed by the track. I think the track is badly designed for this form of Formula One, and the quality of the marshals was shocking. And that's not something I usually notice. I was talking to my Dutch friend actually, who told me that he'd read somewhere that they had only one experienced marshal supervising.
No. Well, because I know last year we'd sent over loads and loads of people before, but apparently I thought that only like 30 or so people had gone back over for the second year because they said they could manage. But the marshalling was terrible. Like, Kvyat's car could have been removed under a virtual safety car. So could most of the debris. And it was that kind of issue. And the safety car apparently going slow, and I don't know whether that's true or not, causing
DC
more
was
issues.
talking about that.
Yeah.
Because he was saying that he thought some of the safety cars and the speed of the safety car was a show decision.
Yeah.
Rather than a safety decision.
Yeah, I remember him saying that actually, and I thought, no, you are actually quite right, because it got Bottas back on the lead lap so that everyone can then go, oh, look, overtakes. Because everyone's so desperate for that Grand Prix to do well from a business perspective, even though it's only got about 40,000 seats.
Yeah, I don't know. On paper, I like the venue, and I think the city does look pretty. I don't rate it as highly as Singapore.
No.
Which is one of my favourite Grand Prix visually.
Yes.
But, I don't resent it being on the calendar in the way that I thought I would. And, as far as I'm concerned, it would be fine having a place on the calendar if it was safe, if it was capable of running F1, but it wasn't. The number of safety cars, whether it was a show decision or not, the marshalling was poor, there was debris everywhere, the cars are too wide for the circuit at the speed that they're required to take it. And even really experienced drivers, ones that we really don't see mess up, were messing up. I think the fact that it's still a new circuit and that they went there in the first year of a new formula caused some problems as well, because the surface it's not like it's familiar to everybody. We saw Hülkenberg getting caught out by that, Bottas to a lesser extent. It's that and China are the races I would drop in a heartbeat if I were Liberty Media, and I wouldn't be letting Malaysia waltz out the door.
I'm surprised actually at how many people that like open-wheeled circuits are not a fan of Malaysia. And I swear it's the us and them of the, well, we can't like circuits that bikers like. I don't know why.
I'm a big lover of Sepang.
Yeah, I like that circuit. I think it's one of Tilk's best. I'm not a fan of the Chinese Grand Prix as a venue. I do like the fact that China is starting to get motorsport a bit more, though, because the crowds are going up. So I can kind of see why they would want to keep it about, especially as there is no India. And if Singapore decides that wants to no longer play ball anymore, because there's still that rumour, they need something in that side of the world that isn't Suzuka.
I agree. No, I like the idea of a Grand Prix in China. I think there absolutely should be one. I just think it should be a better track.
Yeah, and they have better tracks out there. Zhuhai is better. It's almost the same layout. Actually, it's just without like a 1,000,000-mile long straight and that horrible turn one, which actually I managed to nail in an F1 game, and would make me quite sad because that normally gives me about 4 attempts for the rest of the lap. If it's
you
taken
always
away.
kick my ass in China. I remember. I don't forget. I hold a grudge.
But yeah, back to our Azerbaijanis. Yes, I agree with Coulthard. That was all for show and not for safety. And I think that's a very dangerous mentality to go down, because that to me is what NASCAR chases, and to a lesser extent IndyCar, to go for the show. And then as soon as we do that, there's going to be something else that will crop up that you'll just kind of go, and we suddenly start compromising our sport where we don't want it to be compromised. And that, to me, as soon as I saw that Sector 3 last year, I was like, someone designed this thinking that we only drive on a PlayStation. This is real life. And the minute someone has an almighty accident around there, that track will never be raced on again.
The entry to Sector 2, actually, I'm not keen on. You know, the uphill section.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a horrible entry, on the PlayStation or otherwise.
Yeah.
Actually, is it mid-Sector 2, that, actually? Yeah, it is. It's going into Sector 3, isn't it? I'm a fucking idiot.
Mm-hmm.
But the uphill section in the Old Town, I absolutely hate that.
Yep.
I don't think it conveys the effect that they were hoping for, which is, look at this show of skill. I think it's just a bad choice. I am pitting this lap, which is good because my pace has gone off because I've absolutely knackered my front tyres.
Same.
How are you getting on, mate? Where are you?
I'm 21st because Button had to pit as well. And Alonso seems to be going either quite slowly or he's pitted and come out ahead of me. I can't work it out.
I guess he's probably going slow. I mean, he started ahead of me. And so, which place did you say you were?
21st.
I actually thought you'd be a little bit closer. Don't know why. Don't know where I got that notion from. Look at me overestimating your abilities.
Don't. I have pitted though.
No, I know. I just still assumed that you would. Yes, I am boxing because I'm really feeling the loss of this front wing, which is a shame because the first few laps I got into a really good groove. Now remember, Ben, not to crash into the pit entry again. That's become something of a hallmark over the years.
How very Marino.
Yeah, that was it.
You.
Nice clean pit entry. And now we're going to come out in clean air on the hard tyre. Someone is ahead of me on mediums. I don't like that.
What? Oh, what's the yellow flag going on in the final sector?
Oh, I'm going to lose a lot of time getting my wing changed. Shit. That adds so much to your pit time, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I think Vettel did something. Oh.
Hello.
Oh, hello. Bit of a cheeky lock up there, San Marino. You're on the faster tyre, so I'm just going to try and keep out of your way.
I'll be pitting at the end of this lap anyway.
Oh, well, in that case.
In fact, if you do get up behind me, I might let you through because my front left is now on 70%. Oh, shit. Go wide. Go, 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 go.
Thanks.
Confirm change.
Well, that's us out of the points again.
I know, I think you'll be alright. Because there was something was going on in Sector 3 and I saw a massive bunch of people.
Yeah, but it's about pit window time anyway. I mean, I might gain some time if some people need their wings replacing, but... I still don't know why the Red Bull pit crew don't have gives you wings written literally everywhere. Because every time they do a wing change, that's like a marketing wet dream.
Too true, too true.
Alright, who's this in the pits up ahead? Merrickson and Grosjean. Okay, so I've beaten Grosjean in the pits, that's good, but Massa has got round me.
Okay, soft tyres. Ooh. Ericsson was mega slow in the pits. I've come out just behind him. He wasn't even in my view.
He must have been getting a wing change.
That explains
Maybe
what the problem was.
Maybe he was your yellow flag.
Yeah.
I'm going to try and make a run on Massa. He's on the faster tyre, but I think I've got the legs. And let me tell you, mate, the medium tyre actually isn't that bad.
Okay.
It's feeling alright on my setup. I don't know what the difference in our setup is actually this time. We haven't done our usual comparison. Anyway, back to the real world of F1.
Can we talk about the big incident, please?
Yes, let's. Because we've talked about the track, so let's talk big incident.
So, what do you think of the Vettel rage fest? And do you think that Hamilton brake checked him?
I don't think he brake checked him. It's very rare that I side with Hamilton, but in this case, I am actually on Hamilton's side. And honestly, I would have black flagged him.
We have exactly the same opinion.
No, I mean, for once, I agree with Hamilton. Kids are watching.
Yeah. And it's not just...
Gutierrez, no.
It's not just the kids that are the thing for me. It sets a precedent. He's right that you're saying it sets a precedent to the lower formula. But also, it's using your vehicle as a weapon. How can that not have been a black flag or a race ban or something like that? And then to me, I was really unimpressed with how then Vettel was like, "What was my driving?" And the only thing
when did I do dangerous driving?
Exactly.
Sorry, mate. What?
You what? And I guess the only thing that I can think of is if he actually, when he went to gesticulate, just lost control of the wheel and smacked him up by accident, but then just say so.
Yeah, but to be honest, if I was a professional Formula 1 driver, even if I like to think that if I did something like that, I would step down myself the race.
Yeah.
Or I would say, look, I need to be penalised for that. In the cold light of day when you get out of the car, maybe not while you're in the cockpit. There's a Palmer train in front of me, which I need to get past if I'm going to get points, but it's three cars, and I don't know how to get past. Let me try turning the fuel up. Oh, surely not. Triple overtake.
Oh, bad.
Matron, and I got the Durs on the way out.
Your taco is crammed, mate.
That was a spicy enchilada. Bloody hell. I mean, it was a clencher. If I stood up now, my chair would follow me. But it was the right thing to do, because look at the gap I'm pulling out now. I am cruising, baby. And I can see Alonso up ahead. He's on super softs, but he has a point, and that point should be mine.
Yoink.
Actually, it's another Renault train. There's 3 cars running very close together, held up by one Mr. Nico Hulkenberg.
K-Mag?
Oh, sorry, yeah, K-Mags, you're right. You're right. We're a year behind, aren't we?
Yeah, we've got to time warp it.
Here's a quick diversionary question before we get back on to the Vettel incident, which I still want to talk about some more. Actually, no, I'll add this on at the end. Let's stay on topic. So, I would have black flagged him, not just because of the lower formula, but because of actual kids at home. I mean, he's supposed to be a sportsman, for Christ's sake. I don't know, that behaviour cannot be tolerated, and certainly a 10-second penalty was bullshit. And the only reason they did that was for the show, wasn't it?
Yep.
It's pretty obvious because, they had to make the call with Hamilton with his headrest, which, again, iconic image of that Grand Prix, and what a clusterfuck it was. Him driving down the straight at 220 kilometres an hour with one arm over his shoulder, holding his headrest in place.
Yeah. Hold the car together, mate. Or just, lean your neck in. What?
I'm surprised that Mercedes made that error. I really am, but I guess it happened under unusual circumstances. Haryanto in 8th? What?
Oh, yes.
Funny how no one's talking about him coming back.
Oh, Rio. Well, no, he's working for Mummy and Daddy now. I don't know what he's doing. Bit of admin.
Yeah, he's doing some filing.
Oh, he wouldn't have been 1.5 seconds off of fucking Hulkenberg, Jolien.
No, he wouldn't. It looks like I'm going to get another triple overtake. I wish we were on board with me.
Whereas I'm just battling Merrickson.
Just for this brief moment. Just for this brief moment, and then back on you for everything else, because my driving is embarrassing. Oh, Haryanto's made it easy for me into the pits. So now I'm just going to get past K-Mags, and I'm back in 7th, where I was before the stops.
Oh, fab.
I don't know where I found this pace, but I hope it doesn't go away.
I love your pace. I can't do it.
Do you like my pace? Do you like it?
Boom.
Yep, there I am, through on the K-Mag, pulling out a gap.
Okay.
Now, let me turn my fuel back down. Hope I've got enough to make it to the end now. Oh yeah, I've still got 2 additional laps. I'm starting the race too heavy. I need to start taking fuel out of the car. It's not helping my my tyre wear. Had a bit of snap oversteer as well that nearly barriered me, but I pulled it back. So, we both agree that we would have black flagged Vettel, and I assume we both agree that it was right to force Hamilton to pit.
Yes, because how much carnage would that have caused if that had flown off and hit anyone behind?
A massive amount, I would, I would assume. But also, if he got into an accident and it failed.
Yeah, because that reminds me of, was it K-Mag at Eau Rouge when it flew off?
Yeah.
And I'm ignorant. I don't necessarily know what the connotations for that is, but I'm assuming potentially a snapped neck.
Yes, that's exactly it, because the helmet weighs quite a lot, right?
Yeah.
And so it's cushioning, basically to stop the weight from carrying you too far back, but also for impact protection, particularly rear impacts, to make sure that your neck isn't snapped forward as harshly under a rear collision.
So yeah, crazy. No, definitely put that in. I'm surprised they left it that long. He should have had one go to try and put it in place, and then if not, box straight away. I think that then also makes the 10-second penalty even more shit, because that spent longer to sort it out. Obviously, it's all great for the show, but yeah, it made me slightly angry at the whole thing.
I mean, what upset me as well was how the red flag was handled, but we'll get to that once you've finished. I just wanted to make a note of it so I don't forget.
Oh, okay. What is in terms of the Raikkonen Perez penalties?
Yes.
Or just okay. Yeah, I don't quite understand that. So you repair a car, you get it back out again, and then you're penalised for rejoining the race? What the fuck?
Yeah, that's exactly my point. Why tell them, yes, you can work on the car and get it back into a safe, raceable condition. Oh, by the way, here's a penalty for working on the car under red flag.
Yeah. Thanks for propping up our race entries. Toodles. Yeah, it seemed a bit shit. And
honestly, I don't
impressive
know
for
why
me.
the teams did it either. I mean, particularly Raikkonen's car, that was shagged. Why would you put the extra miles on the engine? I do not know. I don't know if maybe there was some pressure put on them by race control. Or maybe they thought, well, the cars are inherently fast enough that if we restart from a standing start, maybe we can overtake. But both cars were fundamentally uncompetitive when they came back on.
Yeah,
So-
I guess they were hoping maybe for a bit of a Bottas safety car unlap ourselves situation because it was so much carnage, and they only needed one of those, and then they'd be back on the lead lap again, I guess.
I was impressed by Ocon's recovery, but I still sort of feel the whole safety car and the whole red flag. It was all handled really badly. The red flag should have come out a lot earlier. I think once you're on the third safety car, I think you're taking the piss a little bit.
Yeah,
Getting ready to make the moves on Bottas for 6th.
nice.
He's just come out of the pits on softs. He's a little bit faster than me, but maybe I can reel him in over the course of the stint. Because we're going to be pitting about the same time, but I'm going on to the faster tyre, so... Who knows, maybe I can squeeze a 6th out of this. I've been wanting to add to my points tally for several rounds now, because I got off to a good start, and then it's all gone to shit, and I've only got 10 points at the midway of the season. Oh, excuse me, that's the beer coming out.
That's all right. It's fueling your victories.
Yeah,
Taco beer, fueling victories. Sunoco would be proud.
So, I mean, let's put us in charge of race control. We would have both penalised Vettel for what happened. Would you have penalised him for the collision, the initial collision that triggered his outburst?
No.
Why not?
Because of the grey area of 10 car lengths behind the safety car. And when does that actually happen? Because Hamilton made that decision a corner too early. Because you can only break that when you're in my opinion, when you're like going towards the final corner, because there's like a mile still left of the circuit, so it's very difficult to judge. I think he was silly, but I wouldn't have penalised it because I think the damage would have been enough. For me, my entire issue of that is then what he done afterwards.
See, I would have at least considered him for some sort of reprimand for running into the back of Hamilton, simply on the basis that, as Daniel Ricciardo said, at that corner, there's no way he's going to start putting the hammer down. I don't know why Vettel would assume that they were just going to take off. And the telemetry shows that Hamilton didn't brake test anybody. I mean, he just didn't put his boot down. And I think it was maybe the heat or the nature of the race just got to Vettel and he lost his concentration. But the point is, no one should be making contact with anyone else on the safety car.
No.
And, the letter of the law would say he should get some sort of warning, at least, for that. I know the damage to the car is punishment enough, really, but, you live by the rule book and die by it, right? And the letter of the law is pretty clear about collisions under safety car. So, I don't know, I would have at least investigated him, but given what happened in regard to the incident that immediately followed it, I don't trust race control to have reached any legitimate... I don't know, it seems that they just can't find that balance, can they? They're either way too harsh for no reason, or they're incredibly lax, like embarrassingly lax. There's no conceivable way to defend not disqualifying Vettel or banning him for the next race, at the very least.
Do you think it's entirely show dependent?
Yeah, I do actually. I think if Stroll had done that, he would have been out the door. Because the same way that they gave him the 10-second penalty to put him back in contention with Hamilton, because those two are the ones that are fighting out for the title, and they've realised, I'm sure, by looking at the viewing figures from previous seasons, that if any one driver is allowed to build too significant a lead, the viewers go away. I mean, people like you and me will always watch. But it's not you and me that they're worried about, because they know you and me will always watch. It's the people who need the show that they're trying to keep. And so, they would have looked at this and said, well, if we disqualify Vettel, is he ever going to close that points gap again? Yeah. And I'm pretty sure it made
Boxer slap. Sorry.
It's no problem. Yeah, Bottas has got the legs on me completely. My tyres are starting to go off. He's pulled out 3 seconds in 6 laps. So, but I'm way ahead of Kvyat, so I'm in a safe 7th at the moment, pending any fuck up. So I mean, I hate to cast aspersions on the guys who run the sport like this. I genuinely do. But it's a sort of behaviour that I would have credited Bernie with.
Yeah, it's I don't know, and I guess for me there's it's the way how Americans run sport.
Could very well be.
And the other thing that I saw on Twitter, and there's absolutely no thing on this at all, like reasoning for this, but I did see someone go, I hear that Alonso says that his future is sorted and secure for next year, and it's the same race that Vettel was driven like a complete and utter maniac. Are these two things related?
Well, the thing is, like last year, I did think that if Vettel had another bad year, Ferrari would get rid of him. I think they're finally moving beyond the idea of the star driver.
Yeah.
I think they're over that. I think they're over the idea of sticking with someone when they're not delivering. And Arriva Bene is not shy about saying, well, I want to build an Italian team. I want young talent coming in. You and I are thinking in terms of old Ferrari when we think, well, Perez is a shoe-in for that, or Ricciardo, or whoever. I think he's honestly thinking about Giovinazzi.
Yeah.
I think he's very seriously thinking about it, and that's a Ferrari that we've never seen before in any point in their history. So who even knows what they're going to do? But it depends how he picks up from this. As with any shocking news story, it will be lining the waste paper bins in a few weeks.
Mm-hmm.
It's a midpoint in the season. If you're going to do something stupid, now's the time to do it. Because, silly season starts soon, everyone gets distracted, and it's only when silly season begins that you're really being scrutinised race by race, I think.
Yeah.
If the last 6-7 races of the season you're not delivering, it doesn't matter how well you drove at the start of the season, because that's the time that the doors are open and the negotiations are happening. And you're only as good as your last hit.
That's true. I guess for me though, there is a kind of a general when will Vettel be the next driver to punch another driver? I feel like it needs a website. Has Vettel meltdowned today? Because if it's not Grosjean screaming about his lack of brakes, then it's Vettel being really angry on the team radio. And I know he's always had that kind of streak in him before, but it's always been tempered with like this cool mentality. And since he's been at Ferrari, there's been a bit more of a sway the other way. But yeah, I wonder if the pressure of Ferrari is too much for him. Still, and I don't know.
Maybe, but at the same time, he seems to genuinely love it there, so it's hard to say. I still think they're a good match on a good day.
Oh yeah.
And he's been learning Italian, and he seems to want to make it work. And I think it's maybe more frustration than the pressure of the team, perhaps. But still, it's probably not acceptable to Ferrari.
No.
And it makes me think actually of there was an off the record comment from Webber to it could have been a journalist that came out after Webber's retirement. I think it was from 14 maybe or 13, where I mean I'm paraphrasing, but I'm trying to get it as close to the original statement as possible. He's come up with something like, I love they hold the pit boards out, by the way, which was not his comment, that was my comment.
Oh, okay.
But I just noticed the Force
Controversial.
India guy holding out my pit board, and I fucking love it. No, his statement was, he said something like, mate, I completely understand why people like Seb. He's a great driver. I've got a lot of respect for his driving, and he's a very affable, smiley and funny guy. He's got a good sense of humour, but honestly, when it comes to throwing toys out of the pram, he's in a whole different league, and he's got a very big nasty streak in him. And I reading that comment back, you can see exactly what he was talking about.
Oh yeah.
Because it's true, right? When things are going his way, he's very likable, actually. I mean, I didn't think he was likable at Red Bull because something about his success there felt artificial.
Mm-hmm.
But when he's winning in a Ferrari, you sort of feel that it's somehow more deserved.
Underdog.
Yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe it's because, it's not the team anyone expected to win. And, I still think right now it's the best car on the grid, so I don't know why that feeling still extends, because I genuinely believe it is a better car than the Ferrari more of the time. Better car than the Mercedes, sorry, more of the time. Like, the Mercedes, I know it's looked untouchable the last two races, but I think that's very track specific.
Yeah.
I still think more days of the season in more weather conditions over a wider range of temperatures, the Ferrari is going to be the better performer. I'm closing up to Bottas again, and it's coming up to the pit window. I'm going to be on those faster tyres. I come for you now, Mr. Bottas. Do you know, when I try not to overdrive, and I'm just talking, and I'm just concentrating on getting round, I seem to be a lot faster. Because before, I was 6 seconds clear of the car behind, and I'm now 18 seconds clear of the car behind.
Oh, wow.
But also, I think part of that might be there was a car in between us that's pitted. I should be coming in this lap or next. How are you getting on, mate? Where are you?
I'm having a nightmare. I am in a battle with Palmer and Grosjean for currently 17th. There won't be any points coming from me this end.
Do you know, I was watching some of our old stuff back the other day, as I occasionally do.
Ooh.
I was watching Malaysia 2015, which is still one of my favourites, simply because of my double overtake in the rain. And one of the comments we were talking about was someone was saying, why is it that only one of you is ever allowed to be good? Like, we never both deliver. And I was thinking, that is as true today as it was 2 years ago.
Very true. Bye-bye, Jolien. 17th.
Oh, wow. I had enough of a gap that I've come out in the same position that I pitted in.
Oh, amazing.
Oh, now I've lost a place to Vettel because I ran wide, controller issues. But, had that not happened, I would have pitted in 7th and come out 7th, which makes me happy.
Nice.
And I'm on the faster tyres, so maybe I can catch him again. He says, optimistically, as Vettel rides off into the sunset. Still, I can live with 8th. I'm 24 seconds clear of Kvyat, who's the guy I'm actually racing. So, fuck it, it's a good day.
So talking of good days, we need to have a little bit of a can we vindicate ourselves plus on Mr. Strolly Roll.
Yes, a guy who we have defended all season.
And said he'll come good eventually. He's still a little bit ragged here and there, but soaking up all of that pressure, didn't do anything stupid, could see all of those guys coming in the distance, and just drove a nice race. And I think, when you get like the familiarity of being back out in front again, as like I normally do when I'm at the back row of the grid, and then you everything feels back at home again. I thought that was a very mature drive, and when I look back at how he drove in lower formulae, very of him. So yeah, I was impressed and happy.
I still think places reversed. If Massa had been in that car, Bottas wouldn't have pipped him.
Yeah.
I think Bottas wouldn't have got anywhere near him. I think it still would have been like a 2-3 second gap by the end of the Grand Prix.
Yeah.
But what a track to prove yourself on.
Yeah, and in a shit-fuck race, it was good.
It was an incredible drive. And it wasn't just that he kept his nose clean, he had pace.
Yes.
Which, is good. And he out-qualified Massa. And he seemed to be on the bubble all weekend. It seemed to be a track that suited him. It's a very challenging track and one that, as we've already discussed, doesn't really suit the cars. So to get that result there was really good. I felt Bottas was a little bit of a cheeky dick with his move at the line. I know that's what he's paid to do, but I do sort of feel... Do you remember back in the day where Villeneuve was at Williams and his car had been speared in the side by Schumacher?
Oh yes, yeah.
And there was that famous radio message where they told him, well, you're going to have to back off because we want to get the car to the finish. And the McLaren behind is catching you very quickly, and obviously that would put them in, for winning the race. And we'd like you not to fight. And he said, "Is it Hakkinen?" And they said yes. And he said, "Okay, fine." and I thought, yeah, that's the sort of spirit that there is a precedent for it. Like, he thought, do you know what? Mika Hakkinen deserves to win a race. And so he said, yeah, do you know what? I won't fight Mika Hakkinen. I'd fight David Coulthard.
Yeah.
I'd fight him all the way. But yeah, Hakkinen, yeah, whatever. And part of me thought, Bottas seems like a nice, affable guy. Part of him must have thought, the team that he loves, the rookie that took his seat.
Yeah.
Part of me thought, is he just going to be a little bit slow through one of the corners? He won't lift because the team will see it on telemetry, but could he just cost himself half a second somewhere in a corner and just get the feel-good story of the year? But no, he was heartless.
Like a Finnish person would be.
Yeah, he was very cold. Still, though, he did have the pace, and as much as I wanted a Ricciardo, Stroll, Magnussen podium, Magnussen's drive just wasn't as impressive. And I know, he kept his nose clean and he was third, but the gap between Stroll and Magnussen at its smallest was, I believe, 18 seconds. Which shows that Stroll was there on merit and Magnussen really was there on attrition, which you saw when he got minced alive after the red flag and all the drama with the penalties and everything. I still would have loved to have seen him get the podium. I would have felt bad for Nico Hülkenberg if that had happened.
Yeah.
Because, leaving aside the Vettel-Hamilton incident, right? So let's imagine that happened. But Hülkenberg's still in the race, and he was running 5th, catching for 4th at one stage, and both Force Indias are in the race. Could you imagine what the podium might have looked like?
Yeah, because I don't think Danny Rick would have had an easy time keeping those Force Indias behind. It could have been a Perez, Ocon,
well, he wouldn't have got past them.
Hülkenberg.
He wouldn't have got past them, I don't think, because he went down to the back with the brake duct issue, right?
Yeah.
And didn't he get past the Force Indias because they took each other out?
Yes.
And then at that point in the race where he's still running, Hülkenberg would have been with the Force Indias in the mix somewhere. Then if Massa hadn't have had his problem, he would have been there or thereabouts.
Yeah.
I mean, could you imagine a three-way fucking fight for the podium between the two Force Indias, the two Williams, and Hülkenberg? Everyone's a winner. No matter what happens there, everybody wins.
I'm genuinely slightly foaming at the mouth for that kind of battle.
And even the fact that at one stage it was mathematically possible for McLaren to have won, part of me thinks that is the sort of racing we should be seeing, but it shouldn't be happening under these circumstances. Like, it shouldn't take such a clusterfuck for that sort of thing to be happening. I mean,
Yeah.
what the mathematics was that if the 20 horsepower gap was smaller, if it was only 10, 5 horsepower or whatever, or it was evenly matched with the Renault engine, Alonso could have been on the podium or even won the race.
Mm-hmm.
Because the speed differential, like, he was losing out entirely on straight line speed, and he was in a position for most of the race where, the fact is he finished 8th with a crap engine, with Alonso behind the wheel, and that chassis, it does seem to be good, actually. I'm prepared to go against the viewpoint of my old mate Gary Anderson, and I'm going to call it and say the McLaren chassis, particularly with the updates, looks handy. And although I still believe Van Dorn will come good, I don't believe he's getting the pace out of the car. I think Alonso's getting more out than it should be. I think even with the shitty Honda engine, I still think Van Dorn is,
Boosting it a little bit.
1 to 6% under delivering. Not by much, but I think he is under delivering.
I'd agree with that. And Van Dorn actually comes into the other little story that I wanted to talk about, which was our little chums at the back of the field, Sauber, getting a point there with Wehrlein. But Ericsson was leading him all the race until the tyres played around. And that was with a battery problem failure. So he was driving a great race.
And
Pascal...
he was catching him at the end of the race, I believe. Sorry to cut you off.
No, he was catching him at the end of the race. They'd let Pascal through because they thought Pascal could get Alonso. Turns out he couldn't. But then Pascal did not let Ericsson back through to take his first point of the season, because he spent so long basically not letting him back through that Van Dorn caught him back up again, so they couldn't do the switch, and that's how Pascal kept 10th.
Yeah, I remember DC talking about that. They said, well, you're going to have to let Ericsson through soon, because if you don't, Van Dorn could join the party. Now, when he said that, I don't know if he genuinely believed that Van Dorn would get round 2 Saubers and take that point, because I don't think anybody else did. I think on his day, Van Dorn's probably a match for Wehrlein and a better driver than Ericsson, but I don't think he's racy right now. I don't think he would be in a position to do that. So they should have let Ericsson through. I think that's a no-brainer for most people. I'm not sure my tyres are going to make it to the end of the Grand Prix.
Mine aren't, but I don't care. I'm battling for 15th. This is as good as it's going to get.
I should have pitted a lap later. Oh well, let's see. I could always turn the fuel down to low and just coast it and stop trying to catch Sebastian. I mean, 8th isn't great, but I'll take it.
It is all about, I lose so much tyre performance in the corner at the end of Sector 2 and then the final turn.
Yes, the final turn particularly.
So if you just coast that, you'll be well alright. If you've got the ability to do it.
I can do it in the tyre testing on single player, so I don't see why I can't do it here.
Christ, I'm driving like a complete and utter twat today. Do you know why? It's because I'm going to blame it on 2 things. One is I'm running on a reduced frame rate, but the other one is that I'm so used to driving on a PS4 controller that I swear that there is differences in how the analog sticks kind of work in their give. And so where I kind of half turn things on a PS4 analog stick, I think I overdo it on an Xbox controller. I think I like overcompensating for myself.
See, it's a shame you have a PlayStation and not an Xbox One. Because I've been thinking about a console, and I'm just not a PlayStation guy, but I don't know. The PS4. I don't know. It's a good machine. I'm just wondering if it makes more sense for us to do these on the PlayStation, where we know it's going to work equally all the time, rather than us playing this piggyback game of Leapfrog, where the first year we had pretty much even PC specs. Then you got that big update, and then as your PC's aged, I got a big update, and now I'm ahead. And then when you get your update, presuming you get one, you're going to leapfrog me again, and we're just going to keep outclassing each other. I'm wondering if I should try and pick up a cheeky PS4 deal somewhere. That could be good. I could get used to doing this in a comfy chair.
Oh yeah, I tell you what, we can live broadcast that as well, because that's what I do with my Hungary one.
I'm going to give that some thought. I don't know if I can adapt to the PS controllers, because the triggers have less play, right?
Yeah.
So how do you get fine control on the throttle?
I'm just more used to it on that controller. I'd say it's less. So for me, I'm used to not pressing as much, which means that when I kind of play on the Xbox, it's like as if I'm noticing that I don't have as much control. Sorry, that I have more play, and so I end up flooring things.
But you do have more control, right? That's a fair assessment.
I don't know. I think it's just down to personal preference, if I'm honest. But then I've grown up with PlayStation peripherals, so it's what I'm used to.
That's the thing, I had a PS1 and a PS2, and then I switched to Xbox and never moved back. So maybe that's it. And the thing is, I like the idea of the the Xbox One, even though it's probably shit in Germany. I was thinking about being in the market for a Switch.
Ooh,
just because I like Nintendo and I don't want to see the Switch fail, because it sounds like a nice idea. Problem is, I'm not your usual, I'm not the kind of guy who plays the Nintendo games, really. I mean, apart from Mario Kart, I don't know what I get on there. I've never been a big Zelda guy.
No.
I mean, I have respect for the franchise, and I can see why it's so loved and everything, but I've never been, I'm one of the few people in the world of my age who hasn't completed Ocarina of Time.
Mm-hmm. I can join your club with that.
And I don't care about Mario Galaxy or Paper Mario or any of that bollocks either. It just doesn't appeal to me. I don't see it having many. Problem is, I don't refer to myself anymore as, it used to be casual and hardcore, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't see myself as a hardcore gamer anymore. I am not. I'm a casual gamer. I have a handful of hours a week, so by definition, I'm a casual gamer. But I still prefer hardcore game experiences. That's why I've become one of these horrible people who, while I still, as a gamer, loathe the idea of pay-to-win mechanics.
Yes.
I've become someone who actually does pay.
No.
No, I know, and do you know what? Time was, I'd hate me along with you. As a gamer, I want to see them removed. But as an adult, with a job and a relationship to maintain and things to do, I will pay to take a shortcut, because games these days, the games I play at least, are so grindy. I'm talking mainly about online games here.
Okay, so
the big online RPGs and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't play them as much anymore. Or Star Citizen. I stopped giving money to that a long time ago because the prices are ridiculous. But I did throw more money at it than any game before, because at the time, at least, I thought they were building my dream game. Now I'm not even sure they'll deliver anything. But I thought, okay, this is the game that I spent my childhood wishing someone would make. I don't have time to play it. I will not be able to put in the 120 hours or whatever you need to unlock a ship that I find interesting. So I am going to buy the ship now for 100 euros or whatever I paid, and just not buy 4 other games. For most people, that would be a very stupid thing to do, but for me, it makes sense because I know that I would buy the game at full price and then just experience 5% of it. So why would I do that? I'd rather equip myself by spending a little bit of cash. You know, because that's the luxury as well. As an adult, you don't have time, but you do have cash.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the thing about so-called pay-to-win mechanics that the people that rage about them don't really consider. That while I still think it's a shitty business practice and games shouldn't be that grindy, I know that their core demographic is, you know, who I was 15 years ago, where I didn't have money for many games and I wanted to get my money's worth out of them. I wanted 200 hours of gameplay for my 40 quid because I had nothing else to do. Gaming was my passion. And so I don't know, what I'd like to see is a game company making games just for adults.
Well, actually, you talking about microtransactions and stuff like that. So someone who I've had a couple of date with works for an MMORPG.
Why is it stopped on the line? I just crashed into everybody in the world.
Oh.
I went through them. I ghosted through them, but like everyone was stopped on the finish line.
How bizarre.
How bizarre. Sorry, go on.
No. Oh, that's frustrating. Our fastest laps are only a tenth apart, which makes me annoyed. And if I'd taken off a good extra pit stop for my front wing change at the end of lap 1, I would have probably been around Massa, maybe. But I
could have been 6th. If it wasn't for my 2 controller fuck-ups, I could have been 6th.
So.
Definitely 7th. I would have been 7th anyway, but I was faster than Bottas pretty consistently during our stint together. There was only a brief time where my tyres switched off that he pulled away. But what a flyer he was on, because he made an extra pit stop work as well.
Yeah.
Nice. Fair play. Anyway, sorry, you were saying dates and microtransactions.
Oh yes, I don't pay microtransactions. No, just import them in, add to basket, lols. No, as much fun as microtransactions on a date would be. I've been on a couple of dates with someone who works for an MMORPG, and that one will remain nameless, but it's a very big one, and it's one that even I know of, and I don't do MMOs. And their essentially, they added microtransactions just to see, like, randomly what would actually happen. It funds over 70% of their... they run 2 games. On one, they've only just implemented it, and it already operates 70% of their income, even when people are paying subscriptions. And on the other one, it's almost 85% of their profit comes from microtransactions. So they now it doesn't make business sense to not make a game for them anymore that doesn't contain it, because people would rather pay to do the stuff than do the stuff.
Well, I mean, on some level, you're right, but I still believe it's a tricky one, isn't it? Because like my gut reaction is microtransactions are Satan, and they ruin games. But I do believe there's a way they can be done right.
Yeah, and I've not played the game, so I don't necessarily know if they've been done right or wrong. But
I think Star Trek Online does it quite well, actually, because even without paying a penny, you don't feel like you're grinding. Star Trek Online is the only online MMORPG that I've never got fucking sick of. Because I don't feel like a grind. I don't feel this like with WoW.
Yeah.
People if they've got more time than you, they just disappear off into the distance. But Star Trek Online is a game that's very low maintenance. You can log in for 20 minutes and level up, and then go on about your day. And when I saw how many hours I'd put in, I felt a bit more comfortable buying stuff from them. And what they do is, every time you level up a certain number of levels, you unlock a new starship, and you go to the dock, and there's a choice of 3 or 4 usually, and then there's some other ones that you have to pay to get, and they're fairly expensive, like 15-20 euros, but the difference is largely cosmetic.
Right.
Some of them maybe have 1 extra slot, but I would be reluctant to call it pay to win, because the advantage they confer is so minuscule that really what you're doing is you're often you're paying for like the little attachments that you find interesting, or a visually more appealing version of the ship.
Mm-hmm.
And to me that felt fine, because I would go into competition with other players with my ship that I paid and get my ass handed to me by people with stock stuff. And I think that's fair.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think where it draws a line with me is where you can buy a game like full price, and then so there's two things that piss me off. So one is locking content that you can see in the game behind a paywall for a full price game. That pisses me off when it's from day one. And Deformers, which is a fabulous little game, does this horrifically by basically making you only be able to unlock any customization for your squish. It's like a squishy ball beat 'em up online, but you customize your squishy ball by playing online. But each thing that you unlock basically means you have to play for about 10 hours to unlock like a new costume. And I'm like, wow. Or you can pay £15 to buy little coins that you can unlock maybe 6 or 7. And I'm like, fuck that. I'll just be a squishy blob that's unformed in the world. That's fine. And the other thing is buying massive loads of XP bundles or unlocking all weapons and things like that straight off the bat. That pisses me off.
That's not cool either. I mean, the thing is, well, on some level, it's not cool. I don't know. I tend to be in favour of stuff where you can pay for a little bit of extra convenience. I don't think it should be a huge amount, but that's why I say there needs to be someone who starts a game studio that makes games just for working adults, where you can tackle mature themes a little bit, and the game can be paced for someone who's not going to be sat at the computer 60 hours a week.
Yeah,
I really think there is appetite out there for shorter length, well-paced games with good storytelling, but they don't sell on the same level, because your biggest market are, well, teenagers who want to put 150 hours into COD multiplayer, and they follow the money. Anyway, we're very philosophical there, but look at that, points on the board.
Whoop, whoop.
I've broken my point stock again.
You've beaten. You're now the top Esteban. You're 13th overall in the standings.
Oh, well, that's good. That could actually be, if I can maintain 13th. I think that will equal my best ever Drivers' Championship finish.
You'll be doing better than that later on. I think there's some maybe some good tracks if we can get round to them.
I don't know. I'd be happy. I don't know if I can close the gap to Sainz by the end of the season, but I'm sure I can pit Massa.
Yeah.
And then I would have a new record. Where are we in the constructors?
We are 8th.
8th. This is the first time we've done worse than the actual team we're representing in real life.
Yeah. I'm going to throw it all at frame rate. Because if I was able to match your consistency and pace, because you've done all those points pretty much, we would be up kind of where we should be. And McLaren seem to be suspiciously overpowered in this game.
Yes, they do. Look at that, 65 points.
Lol.
I have to say, though, to wrap up the episode, obviously we're going to start looking ahead to next year because the game's out next month.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously we don't know if we're doing it on PlayStation, PC, or what's going to happen. But what I've learned through this season is that the argument we got from some of the regular viewers that maybe it makes sense for us to not pick the worst car on the grid every time could help us spice up the episodes a bit, because I feel in a mid-grade car like we've had this season and last, we can recover a little bit better.
Yes.
Whereas when we were back of the grid Lotus, back of the grid Caterham, back of the grid Sauber, we often found that we were on our own completely because we just couldn't match pace.
Yeah.
So it's making me wonder where we're going to be next year. I mean, the Hassholes is a good name. I know we both like Renault, but that's technically going back to a team we've done before. Williams is looking interesting suddenly.
Yeah.
as a mid-table option. We could always stay at Force India and be the Pink Panthers.
Well, there is now an Esteban there, isn't there? So
there is. So exciting times.
yeah, we shall soon see. But no, thank
Well,
you so
mate,
much as always.
Yeah, thank you for your time, and it was a good episode. I feel we had a lot to talk about, a lot to get out.
We did, and there might be a smidgy gap between this and getting out at least one more before the new game appears, because I'm off on Hollybods for a couple of weeks. But yeah, we'll definitely get out at least one more before this all ends, and maybe we could do like a feature surprise if we can't get to the end of the season, where we just pick a race on beforehand and just go ta-da.
Yeah, I think that's probably the workable solution. I would have loved to finish the season, and every year I get annoyed at myself that we don't. I need to kick you more. You need to kick me more, because
Yes.
we have fun when we do it, and it's 2 hours out of a weekend every so often. There's no reason why we can't finish these seasons. We've done it before. We can do it again.
Yes.
We have 9 races remaining after Germany, so that there's almost no chance of us finishing it, because I don't think we can manage 2 a week. Or if we did, they wouldn't be very good quality because we'd run out of material.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we could probably get one big finale out there, and then we'll just have to be better for next season. We'll have to get good, as the kids say.
Yee. In it. No, it sounds good.
In it, bruv.
In it, bruv. Right. Well, you guys will take care. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Where can they find you?
You could find me at Definitely Zero, but I've been slack as everything recently. Still having the occasional tech gremlin, and work has just been nuts. So I often feel I come home and I can't put a video that's worth watching together, so I just don't. But I'm going to try and get some Motorsport Manager out this week. What's going on with you?
Motorsport Manager will be coming back for season 3. I'll be finishing off. In fact, this will probably be finished by the time it comes out. My F1 2016 2-season campaign on that one. And there's some Dirt 4 stuff, which the more I play, the less I like. So, rather annoying. I feel like it is trying to... It focuses so much on the your stage stuff that the actual art of rallying feels a little bit cheapened. I don't know why.
I don't want to waffle on because we've already done the closeout, but I was surprised to see that game existed, because Dirt is still under development, right? And it's so good.
Yeah. And Dirt Rally still feels like the ultimate end goal that Dirt 4 wants to be. It's like they've gone, if we could just make it a bit more arcadey, but not really arcade, and add in some other little bits and bobs. It just feels a bit weird. It's essentially they've put out an infinite track creator and then gone, hey, it's Dirt 4, but it feels like it lacks quite a lot of features. Some good ideas. It needs a hell of a lot of tweaking and gumph to make it like a proper Dirt 4. But when you do play it, it's quite good fun when you're in it.
Excellent. Well then, shall we bugger off?
Yes. Oh, check out the Sexy Brutale. Great game. That's my last thing for you. I think you'd enjoy it.
I shall do that.
So take care, everyone, and we shall see you yonder. Toodle pip.
Love you. Bye.
Oh, hugs and kisses.